there's anything up here. Gotta go around. Thanks, remember that hair. So there was one of these little notice things. These are the green orbs. So this is one of the actual potentially useful. The 15th Indo tribe, 10 cents for every green orb clicked. It's these things. It's these little points of interest. What's our money? $49.96. I just went over the stat collection from the Thought Cabinet as well, and looked at, like, we're getting +3 to something. Like, our net gain is +3, where we could have had 10 stats. And the +3 is to something we don't use, and we've actually lost a logic, which was one of our ones we wanted to be playing. You suffered a beautiful death because of the Hardy Boys. Nice.
A metal payphone under a yellow plastic dome. You could use it to call someone, unless you're out of change.
Got my handset.
You hear the tone. The machine is inoperable.
Did he just say is inoperable? I'm not going to dial a random number. But at least we know there's a payphone down here. Is that the dude's jacket?
Someone has left an unidentifiable article of clothing on this railing. It smells really bad.
Touch it.
The cloth, if you can still call it that, makes a soft crunching sound as you thrust your finger into it.
Take a closer look.
It's streaked with dried seagull shit and tangled with pieces of seaweed. A dangling arm suggests that there might be a jacket beneath the crust of filth.
Let's give it to the dude.
It seems likely that it was left in the surf until someone laid it out on this fence to dry out. Unfortunately, that just seems to have stiffened it into a shapeless mass.
Please tell me you're not taking that with you.
I think this is the jacket the idiot Doom Spiral guy wanted me to find.
I'm sure he'll be thrilled to have it returned.
Yeah. Item obtained, filthy jacket. We can interact with
As
it.
you hold it in your hands, it makes an uncomfortable crunching sound.
How did the jacket get so disgusting?
It's a sordid, filthy tale, not for the weak. Are you sure you can stomach it?
Probably not, but we've got 5 meds in morale, so let's go ahead.
Some secrets are better left uncovered. Don't even try. Seriously.
Think about it.
It occurs to you that you're not even holding the jacket itself, but rather the thick crust of jetsam and seagull shit that ensconces it. It smells like a dead sea creature, tangled in grey strands of seaweed. It must have spent quite some time in the water before the tide deposited it ashore.
Yeah, but what's the crust made of?
Somehow, it was carried or dragged to the boardwalk. If not by human hands, then perhaps the feral dogs that prowl the beaches at night. The faint impressions of many footprints are also present, though it's impossible to tell what kind or how many. Suffice to say, the jacket spent some time on the ground before someone draped it over the railing.
That's pretty disgusting. I've had enough? Never. What happened once someone put it on the railing?
The crust is hard. This jacket spent at least a day baking in the sun. Who knows what happened to it then? Somewhere, high above the city, a pair of seagulls trace loops through the air. They are like the bombardiers of the aerostatic brigades, gliding above a target-rich environment. All of a sudden, the bomb bay doors open, and their white glittering payload rushes to the ground.
We're getting pooped on?
Splat, an explosion of white on a man's shoe. A curse goes up, but the birds do not hear.
Why did I just spend all this time thinking about seagull poop?
It's too late. You've already thought about it, and now your hands are covered in muck.
Flick my hands. Wow, we're losing a morale point because we got pooped on by a bird.
Now you're just flicking that shit everywhere. This is a disaster. You'll never get the smell out.
Awesome. Tear bottles, although we don't need it because we've got a free place to stay now. But we're collecting them anyway. We can get +2 encyclopedia, but minus vagrants recently painted the red tarp, water drips. Coin operated weighing machine hasn't been used for a decade. Oh wait, see if we get any. No. Sometimes you get dialogue when you use a thing. Ah, there you go. Okay. We got a postcard because we had crowbar in our hand. We don't need the torch in our hand. Right, so the purple items are locked. They're white if you can't unlock them. They go purple if you can unlock them while you're holding a crowbar. I think from a gameplay point of view, I'd almost want that reversed. Like purple saying they're locked, you can't open them unless you have a crowbar. And then as soon as you equip the crowbar, they just become openable. Although white does indicate unopenable. So some things, even with crowbar, are still unopenable. And they stay white. Yeah, maybe.
The smell. It's awful and familiar.
What is it?
Don't you recognize it? That hideous pungency. That faintly cloying sweetness. Only death smells like that. Something cold wakes in the pit of your stomach. It is death. It must be.
Heads up, Lieutenant. Something's not right
The
here.
lieutenant has already brought a handkerchief to his nose. There's some tear, an empty cigarette package, and a crumpled kebab wrapper in the trash bin.
Grab the tear.
2 empty bottles of Tallulah vodka and a can of black potent porter is all you find. No, there's more in there. Livis strawberry liquor, plus some Pilsner
perception.
bottles too. Better not pick them up. They seem unhygienic.
A tragedy.
Examine the cigarette package.
Whoever tossed it here was a heavy smoker. The brand name reads Red Astra.
How do you know someone was a heavy smoker when they've thrown out a packet of cigarettes?
Red Astra is the black market version of Astra cigarettes,
Oh, there you
known
go,
for
that's
their
why.
high tar content. You see traces of mayonnaise and ketchup on it, as well as a tomato wedge. The wrapper reads, Shish Kebab Revachol. It's no older than a day or two. No mold yet. It's hard to concentrate in the smell. The sea air brings some relief. A man lies on the boardwalk, his limbs bent and neck turned at an unnatural angle.
Fallen
Right
against
next
the
to him
bench.
is an empty bottle of spirits. In his cramped hand, a chewing gum wrapper. The smell is Not as bad as a 2-week-old corpse, but it's definitely heading there.
Hold on. Lividity is faintly pronounced. Whoever this is has been dead for 2 days. No longer. We need to investigate.
Calm now. Carefully. Just another day. Just another dead body.
Alright, let's look at his
Breathe.
clothes.
He's wearing mud-caked boots, beige trousers, and an old brown leather jacket with a bright blue lining. There are traces of kebab sauce on his chest. The leather jacket suits him well. It must be custom made.
Oh, pockets.
You find some sunflower seeds and a rain-soaked library card folded into 2. His jacket feels sodden and heavy under your hand.
Good. We should take a look at that library card after this is done.
Okay, let's look at the man.
The man has fallen through a crack in the boardwalk and hit his head against the metal bench. Coagulated blood covers his black hair. One of his feet is still dangling through the hole. A bad fall. It might have been dark outside. This place is a minefield in the dark.
Examine his face.
His expression is dull, like the sea behind him. Drops of water shining on his moustache. His eyes, empty and wide, look frightening in their frozen gaze. Height, 170 to 175 centimeters. Curly hair, stout build. Age, approximately 50 to 60 years.
Okay. Study surroundings.
There's some dried blood on the metal bench, right where the corpse's head rests. The floorboards are rotten and slippery wet around the hole. An empty bottle lies nearby. A chewing gum wrapper is clutched in his fist.
Okay, examine the man's head.
A dried chunk of blood covers the hair at the back of his head. An open wound.
Wonder if
It's
this
sticky and cold to your touch.
Wonder if this is the dude that had something to do with the device in the church, and also the same device in the other building. Like, he's near the church, he's eating. You know, he could have got some food just sitting out here for the night. Maybe we get the password for the computers off him.
This is what killed him.
Yeah,
I don't see any other major wounds, do you?
it's hard to say.
Seems like the head wound was fatal. It's exactly the shape of the bench.
Yeah, step on the floorboards.
They screech under your feet ominously. It's hard to say whether the dead man's weight was the cause of the boardwalk to break. It definitely looks fragile.
Hard pressed trying to pin that on someone.
You
though.
see waves churning below. Something cracks beneath your feet. He could have easily disappeared into the sea through that hole, and you would have never found him.
Examine the bottle.
A .75 liter Tallulah vodka with its cap missing. There's hardly anything left inside.
Tear all around us. I'd prefer if you didn't collect them this time. It's not proper.
Yeah, fair enough.
Rybowski spearmint chewing gum. Green leaves on the cover. The man's mouth is half agape from the terror of the fall.
Look in.
The blackness of death. Stench. You think you see white chewing gum too. Confirmed. Nearly the whole pack is there. Solidified on his lower rear teeth.
He ate the whole pack, right? It's to cover the smell of alcohol before going home. The worst thing is, I've seen it before. Almost the same scenario. Even the chewing gum. It's always the same.
The entire boardwalk creaks in the wind as you take a step back.
Who is this man?
Looks like one of the locals. He'd have to know this spot to come here. You don't just walk over here.
No, you don't.
But that's just a lazy assumption. What do you think?
I think labeling him as alcoholic's premature, yeah.
We do know that he was married. But you're right. Let's not run ahead. For now, all we know is that he's an unidentified middle-aged man found dead on the Martinez boardwalk.
What do you think happened here?
Death by misadventure. He slipped and fell through the boardwalk. A truly unfortunate accident. If it wouldn't have been for that bench, he'd be alive.
Could it be related to the lynching?
No, I don't see anything that points in that direction. For now, let's treat this case as a simple, albeit sad, accident, unrelated to the murder case.
Okay.
Agreed. If this somehow converges later, why not? But keep it simple for now.
Do you think he was drunk? And point at the bottle.
Oh, yes.
About alcohol poisoning, liver fat? No.
Some symptoms of acute alcohol poisoning could have definitely played a role here. Severe confusion, respiratory depression, unpredictable behavior. But I think that death arrived through head trauma, not liver failure.
What about the kebab?
What about it? The deceased ate some kebab. It's probably from a nearby place, maybe in the box.
Sometimes a kebab is just a kebab.
They'll seal this place off after the news reaches the coalition officials. I doubt that they have enough resources to actually repair the boardwalk.
Fair enough.
Not that sealing it off would keep anyone away. All it does is keep the city council's hands clean.
Right.
It does seem to be a pretty straightforward misadventure, although there's still a question of identifying the body.
What should we do with him?
From where I stand, I can see two options. We either take the case and follow the leads to identify the body on our own, or we report back to the station and leave this for our colleagues to handle.
We found him, we should take the case.
All right, we should first examine the library card you found. Then we can call the station from Mike and Emma. Let them know we are taking the case.
Yeah.
The library card is folded into two and still slightly wet to the touch. The front side reads, Central Jamrock Public Library Card, issued to Billy Mejean, expires July 53.
Okay.
Billy is a unisex name. Could be the deceased or his family member.
The backside?
If lost, please return the card to the library. Dial 005 02 55211 or visit us at Moreau Street, 78, Jamrock. Business hours, 900 to 1800.
We could dial the library on the way back.
Good. We should give them a call from Mike and Emma. See if we can learn anything about Billy Mejean.
Whoever owns this card is an avid reader. You find a list of books written in blue pencil. Radio thriller. Stand a little less between me and the sun. The last one in the list is The Glinting Curve by M. Theobald. A library stamp indicates that the book has been returned. Most of these titles seem to be in the sci-fi genre. Some thrillers too.
Unapproved reviewer has been out of order for years. There's a gap up between the church and the area there. Bars cover a long dusty window.
You see a once bright mural towering above you. The signage has peeled off over the years, but you can still make out Feld Electrical R&D. A slogan used to intertwine with the loops a long time ago. Now, only a shadow of peeled letters remains. It says, "Tomorrow is just a whisper away."
Looks like tomorrow never came.
Excuse me, sir.
And Mikhail noticed the windows, especially with how there are no windows on the south side. This was to deal with. You officers, come to investigate the historic subtext of West Martinez? I'm Tran Heilostam. You must be Kim Kituragi, right? I was just telling my son about this building. Not a lot of people realize the historic significance here. Very rich in hypertext.
Nice to meet you.
You and Kim know each other?
No, I can't say that we've met before, but I've heard of Kim, of course. Mikhail, say hi to the officers. Mikhail's a little tired today. We spent all night trying to run Orbis on his radio computer. Have you heard of it? It's a programming language used in Grad. Quite tricky, but he wanted to play this Grad-made adventure program. We've been getting really into Worms lately.
Interesting.
The man speaks in the artificial cadence of a professor, or someone who's been on too many radio shows.
But I assume you're not here for giant worms when there are so many real things to see. Just as I was telling Mikhail before, this is where the Coalition landed in '08. We could be standing on what is the most interesting landmark in Revachol West.
Points to the building again.
Wow, get a load of this guy. He really enjoys his trivia.
Yeah, so do
The
we.
Orbis programming language was named after its inventor, Victor Orbis, a cybernetician from Grad. They run Vox in the Occidental countries.
The building. Hey, let's ask about the building.
Aha! But it's not just any empty old building.
Okay.
What not a lot of people know is this used to be the R&D department of Felt Electrical. And
Says right
Felt,
here.
which now sells ink cartridges mostly, was once a top dog in the turn-of-the-century cybernetics boom.
Have you ever heard of this fella?
That's not surprising. Only a vestigial ink cartridge and ferrotape manufacturer remains. They started out as a midway electronics outfit in Königstein 2 centuries ago. After an aggressive move to Revachol, Feld became a global player in the emerging personal electronics market of the pre-revolutionary era. Still, Tricentennial was beating them in business machines. But Feld had an ace up their sleeve, or should I say they were developing an ace up their sleeve. I'm mixing my metaphors here.
What was that ace?
It was here in Martinez, possibly in this very building, that they developed prototypes for a tape computer.
A tape computer, hey?
An elegant folding mechanism of rollers and ferrotape ribbons, portable enough to be a take-it-home solution, revolutionizing business machines, possibly even bring them to the average consumer. Which is a feat of engineering even today's giants, Rehm, ICN and ZAM, haven't achieved yet.
He assumes something like a combat stance, facing the wind.
Indeed. What?
The revolution!
That's right.
Unfortunately, their moonshot project never made it to the market. Feld's move to Revachol backfired. The revolutionary government liquefied their assets and expropriated those very advanced prototypes, possibly from this very building, or one of the adjacent ruins. All of this was built by Feld, even a boardwalk, while Panz built Martinez proper as a resort for their middle management. Feld built this side of town for R&D.
What happened to the engineers?
Yes, they even built a pleasure wheel, but that got destroyed in the war.
A pleasure wheel?
Yes, to lure in their star engineers. This part of Martinaise was nothing but reeds before Feld arrived. They had to make the prospect of living here attractive. It was supposed to become a global center for innovation in cybernetics. But history had other plans. Yes, they even built a pleasure wheel, but that
Saying
got
Feld
destroyed
built
in the war.
Boardwalk.
A pleasure wheel?
Right.
Yes, to lure in this.
What happened to
Oh,
the
I'm afraid
engineers?
it didn't end well for the boys. But this story is a bit too dark for little Mikhail here. Now, if you were to ask about tape computers,
Wait, is he saying that we should just bypass the excesses of the revolution?
Computers.
tape computers.
The revolutionaries do with the tape computers.
They used them for military communications, but also to write and send out press releases. The most notorious example being Le Décret de Mars. What's the Mars Decree? I mean the radio transmission sent out to news agencies and world governments by the newly created Commune of Revachol on the 7th of March in the year 02.
A short-lived legislative foundation for a short-lived utopia.
It's a beautiful piece of text, actually. A singer-songwriter I know, Charette, called it a love poem to Revachol on her political concept album, Bon Baiser d'Insolente. You should read it. Every local library in Revachol stocks a copy of the decree. I tried to get Mikhail to memorize it. Tried to. Someone was much too interested in worms to be paying any attention.
The kid takes a peek at the green and silver worm on the cover of the book, already forgetting about this part of the discussion.
How would the tape computers work? They work like radio computers? That'd be good.
Actually, no one knows. No one even knows what a computer made entirely of tape would look like. But word has it, they were very elegant, exquisite, alien-looking turn-of-the-century hardware.
Buckle up.
Oh,
10 years ago, I did a little freelancing, I guess you could say. I was a special consultant for an exhibition at the Humpty Dumpty Dum Center in Vredefort, Oranje. It raised the same questions, and we had lengthy discussions with Paul Ockerman, who was head curator at the time. This was before the twins Keith and Guy Hughes joined the team, trying to...
Wait, did he just say Wumpty Dumpty Dum Center? What the hell is a Wumpty Dumpty Dum Center? And who the hell are Keith and Guy Yost?
The Humpty Dumpty Dum Center for Contemporary Arts. The exhibition itself drew on Lagerman's notion of memory, and so there were some parallels. That's why the head curator, Paul Ockerman, chose to...
I'm making this up. Kim, is he making this up?
In fact, I'm not. The Humpty Dumpty Dum Center is a place you can visit if you're ever in Vredefort and are ever in the market for an exhibition space / contemporary art
Hey, Tim
research
Nuss.
center.
Did you miss much? Not really.
But perhaps I should
We found a
return
dead
to the
body.
tape computers. As I was saying, the device itself was very elegant, fragile even. One could write directly on the tape using a special chemical solution. The machine would then analyze the handwriting, perform operations, and project output onto a white screen. It was a beautiful, delicate thing.
made of black film and folding tape structures.
Okay, just nod.
Very, very cool. Though I understand the socio-economic causes of the revolution, it pains me to imagine the revolutionary setting fire to this precious device. But so they did. The felt playback experiment vanished into the fires of '07.
Wait, the failed playback experiment?
Yes, the official name of the prototype. Some sources report it as the felt playback experience, but those are incorrect.
Why did they destroy it?
Who knows? Maybe it was an accident, or maybe they didn't want the technology to end up in the wrong hands. Either way, they're all gone now. All 3 versions of the prototype. Nothing but debris and ashes remain inside that building. But of course,
Ask
what
something
else?
You look like someone has money. Do you have money?
I do have some money, yes, but that's not what's really important here.
No, I mean, come on. You need the money. If it's not a thing, he can give you some.
Could I have some of the unimportant money then? I don't want your money. I just wanted to see whether my profiling skills were working.
Of course, Detective. I wouldn't have assumed anything else. Matter of fact,
You want us to profile you?
I don't know if you're familiar with this, but the Vespertine Department of Justice has published a rather interesting paper on the criminal profiling in former socialist states. Have you read it? If not, then you definitely should. If not for tips and tricks, then just for theoretical curiosity. Anyway, that's just a little something that sprang to mind. You were saying?
Forget it. They don't sell those kind of books at crime, romance, and biographies of famous
Thank you for
people.
all the interesting information.
No, thanks to you for having me and little Mikhail here to pick your brain. A very interesting conversation indeed.
Pick your brain. If anything, this was rather one-sided. He did the talking. Apricot chewing gum scented one.
What did we get out of this level up point?
August 2nd. Early late summer.
2 perception.
You're getting
Not a
off
bad
the
one to have.
streetcar in Le Jardin, east.
So we gained something. Would we put points in perception along the way? Likely. So we got a bonus point. And when we level up, we can take Wompty Wompty. Oh no, we've already got one. We'll put that there. And then we can, every time we level up from now, we can actually put points into stuff. Or we can spend a point to forget one that didn't give us a bonus and gamble again on the next one. It sounds like a terrible idea. It's almost as bad as putting them in there in the first place. Break in. Oh, there's the dudes.
You see, a once bright mural towering above you. The signage has peeled off over the years, but you can still make out Feld Electrical R&D, a slogan used to intertwine.
I've read that. He goes to walk down here. I don't think he will.
The remaining windows rattle from a strong gust of wind. They're covered in a thick layer of grime. They must have
We
been like
just
this
passed
for
this
40
perception
years.
check because we gained 2 perception. Can you make inside, Lieutenant? What can you make out? What's inside?
No, I won't even try. You know,
Oh,
I
yeah,
had a
he's got
partner
no-
once. They called him Eyes, because he had to show me things. It's that bad.
Can you still shoot though?
Well enough, actually. It's odd how that works. I'm no sharpshooter, but I passed my shooting courses 7 out of 10.
Take this path here, up the coast. And then we'll come back down to see the, what are they called? People looking for, the scientists looking for the mythological creatures. Whack jobs, that's it. Rusty gears turn the whole machine. Chain trails off into the ocean. That has been recently discarded. It still smells of fuel oil.
An old door, worn by elements, guards the depot. The wind has blown a sand dune in front of it. The door hasn't been opened in a long while. You see a handle.
What is this thing anyway?
It's military, a service depot of some sort.
Used to service what?
The washerwoman mentioned a depot up the coast. She said it was for moving ammo and cargo across the bay. This might be it.
Yeah.
It may have been used to service an aerostatic battleship in
We'll
the
never make
atmosphere,
that roll.
or a fortification, like a sea fort in the bay.
Well. Cigarette butts cleaned away under rock. Brand Timotry. Someone's made a campfire here a long time ago. Rusted control box for the radio tower relay. Ladder is too rusty to climb. Sierra's eaten away. Coordinates boat traffic bay. Relay tower coordinates boat traffic in the bay. Barely. Any inlets off in far distance. Coast trail towards. We'll grab the scarf, but we'll try and put it on and see if we get a dialogue. No. Replace it with our type. Head back down to the where we saw the two scientists digging in the sand. Let's see if we can walk around because the hill there looks rather steep. It's Nolan Vink Sink. Unsuccessful. Beam just splintered, the bridge didn't collapse on its own. Artillery broke it. Cannon cages carefully constructed. Buoy box in the water. Number on it says 11. This one goes to 11. There's one more in it. One of the military blockades with the bullet holes from the start to think.
Here we go. Nice and easy.
Moral the
No way out, little
cryptozoologist.
guys. Not out of this jam.
There's a cylinder on the ground. in which the man is arranging some netting. It looks like some kind of trap. He notices you.
Who's there? Oh, the police. Hello, officers.
His self-conscious enthusiasm renders his movements ungainly. He looks like your understanding of a scientist.
Is that the police? Why are the police here?
Gary the crypto-fascist.
Don't worry, Gary. I'll handle it.
You must be Morel, the cryptozoologist.
To what do I owe the pleasure?
That's sarcasm. He takes no pleasure from your appearance.
Lena sent me. She's been really worried about you and is waiting for you to get back.
Of course. Thank you for passing along the message. That damn waterlock is broken, and we can't go all the way around the 881.
The 881 is a raised motorway that separates Martinez from Jamrock. The labyrinth of streets underneath it makes it difficult to pass, not like walking over a nice waterlock.
We could tell him that we broke it, but it's fixed, or we could say it's been fixed and withhold the story.
Oh, good.
Might do that.
We should really be getting back. Gary could use a hot shower and a warm bed.
Did he say we can go back now?
Yes, Gary. We can go soon. If you see Lena, tell her I won't be long.
Sir, your wife is waiting for you.
I just have to do one more round. See if the phasmid has taken the bait. Then we're going.
It really fastens a bit of netting that has come loose in the wind. Tell me about the phasmid, dude.
Which is why we've been knee-deep in the reeds laying traps for it.
I forgot to... The voice actor didn't say, well, first, it's damn difficult to find. What makes it difficult to find?
Good question. Being a phasmid of the order Phantasmodea, a ghost insect, it disguises itself as plant matter. In this case, the reeds. Awful lot of reeds around, aren't there? And I suspect it may have also developed other specialised techniques to protect itself from predators, or scientists, in our present case.
What sort of specialised techniques is it using to hide itself?
It's my hypothesis that it has evolved certain electrochemical defences that allow it to interfere with animal perception, impeding pattern recognition, confusing the visual cortex.
Right.
But I cannot describe how these defences work, much less how they evolved, without studying a live specimen.
A ghost insect, he said? These people are looking for a ghost.
How big is this phasmid?
I'm expecting it to be quite giant. One known species of phasmid, called the Megaphasmodea zoensis, is about the size of a grown man's forearm. So,
Why are you so interested in this stick bug? Aren't there more sensational animals out there?
typical rookie assumption. Insects are much more sophisticated creatures than those unversed in zoology give them credit for. Even simply catching a glimpse of the Insulindian phasmid would be the apex of my, of any, cryptozoologist's career. But to study it and its defences, find out how it stayed hidden so long.
What have you discovered about it so far?
Very little, I'm sorry to say. No one's ever captured a specimen, so all our information is based on first and third-hand accounts.
So no one's ever found one.
Not yet. That's what makes it a cryptid.
Just out of curiosity, if there's no proof of its existence, how do you know it's real?
I know it's real.
It's clear that his obsession with the phasmid is driven by something more than the pure pursuit of scientific advancement.
By which I mean, I've heard enough first-hand accounts to believe quite firmly that the Insulindian phasmid is more than mere superstition.
Maybe it's died out?
I have to resist the thought Such an extraordinary creature is doubtlessly highly resilient. After all, it's generally thought to be capable of parthenogenesis.
Partheno what?
He means asexual reproduction. The females of the species don't need to mate to produce viable eggs. This makes it easier for a species with a small population to survive.
It's pretty clever.
Yes, the Insulindian phasmid is a very
Phasmid.
clever insect. That's why it's so damn difficult to catch. But as a scientist, I'll try my best to remain dispassionate.
Alright. Tell me more about these traps.
Well, they may not look impressive,
No,
but
they don't.
Lena designed them quite cleverly, so I'm sure they'll do the trick.
Oh, Lana designed the traps, eh?
Yes,
How do they work?
simple. Attracted by the locusts, the phasmid crawls down the funnel and, having eaten its fill, can't get back out. At least, that's the intention. The net isn't a perfect solution, but we didn't want to use anything that might damage the specimen's delicate exoskeleton.
Okay, what are you using as bait?
Locusts. Nearly all known phasmids are herbivores, of course. But we've hypothesized that the Insulindian phasmid might occasionally prey on other insects.
Okay, you've hypothesized on something that you've never seen and only people have told you about that someone else saw it.
Inside the traps, a number of locusts crawl and tumble over one another in a tiny, chittering swarm. A meat-eating stick insect? Does it pretend to be the reeds as part of its ambush behavior? This seems unlikely.
Carnivorous stick insect seems unlikely. I tell you.
Thank you for your opinion. We have also included plant material in the traps to satiate your skepticism.
What will you do if they don't work?
They'll work, I assure you. The predatory hypothesis, using locusts as bait, accounts for the failure of previous efforts by other teams, which use plants. We have given this some thought.
Yep.
The traps do seem to be deftly and thoughtfully constructed. It's clear the cryptozoologist's wife knows what she's doing.
Yeah, the wife knows what she's doing.
Yes. What?
Lena seems pretty eager for your return.
And I'm eager to return to her, I assure you. But I can't leave before we finish with these traps. My wife understands that just as well as anyone.
Come on, Morale. We've been soaking out here for days. It's time to go back.
Yep. Time to go
Leave
back.
the traps? Absolutely not. I won't let Lena down.
You already have.
Come on. She wants us back. I'm soaked up to my nuts over here. We'll both catch reed crabs if we don't dry out soon.
Come on, you're doing this for yourself, not her.
I'm doing this for science, and so is she. Of course it's important to her. She's seen it. A verified sighting, on record. One of only 4 this century, and it's hers.
She's seen it.
Really? She didn't tell me that.
Yes, that's how we first came to know one another, in fact. But that's her story to tell, not mine. Suffice to say, it's long been our dream to find proof of the Insulindian phasmid together. I can't abandon course now.
Maybe you should go back to the whirling, warm up, come back to check the traps later.
No, no, no. The traps need to be monitored on a regular schedule. What would we do if the phasmid were to starve while we were sipping tea at the hostel?
I mean, you've left it bait, which it will eat. So it's not going to starve, right?
I could go for some trap setting.
What if we check the traps for you? Yeah.
I didn't expect you to take such an interest in our work here, officer.
Crypto Zoo and detective work are very similar.
Yes, indeed. Both require a great deal of research, attention to detail, and, above all, persistence.
Where are all the traps?
There are 4 in total. One is to the south, on this little peninsula, by the boathouses there. It's very near. Another we set in Land's End, to the northeast. It's behind a small sand dune there, on your way to the old radio tower, after the church. The third is set near the canal, where you crossed, by a concrete slab. A big thicket of reeds going up the slope, and among them... You should check at least one of those before returning to this one, since I just said it. This one's more of a technicality, but still, better safe and stupid than sorry.
Yeah.
That seems like a lot. Do we really have time for this extracurricular venture? Is it?
What do I do with the Phasmids in one?
Bring it to me at once. Just make sure the trap is closed tight.
He's not comfortable with the possibility that you'll claim the find, but he's lying about this even to himself.
What if I encounter Phasmid in the wild?
That's highly unlikely, officer. But in the event you do, I'll spray you with a pheromone mixture I developed. It's made of musk and research chemicals. The pheromone should attract the insect to you, or at least prevent it from bolting at the sight of you. It's quite potent. Will last you about a week.
Alright. Land on me. Thick.
This is the smell of dying reeds, of longing crumbling into the water.
I hope you're not buying this. It dispenses it without letting you touch the canister, so it would be precious like holy water.
It is precious. A single dose cost me 50 real to develop. Not that I expect you to understand self-financing one's own research.
Let's do it.
Right, which means you two can pack up and go back to the whirling.
Finally, someone's talking sense.
Thank you for your help. Gary and I will start breaking down camp. If you have any more questions, now's the time to ask. We'll be gone once you get to it.
If it's more cryptid-related business you want to discuss, you'll have time for that later too. But what if the information is vital? On the hunt. What about his eager-to-leave friend Gary there? Talk to
We
him
definitely should be
too,
talking to Gary.
perhaps.
I don't care about how he became a cryptozoologist. Gary... Oh, wait, there's something here. Gary...
Hello, I'm Gary. Very generous of you to help us out, officer.
You're welcome.
Yellow man. I mean, officer.
Whoa, dude. You can't just say that.
The lieutenant raises his eyebrows slightly and takes out his notebook. Yellow man. Interesting. This is something to ask him about, after a little probing first.
I'm just waiting for my friend Morel to finish up with his insect traps so we can return to civilization.
Not a lover of the great outdoors?
I like nature, just not this bloody coast. It's mostly drunks and degenerates that come here.
been trained to identify the slightest hint of degeneracy by the preeminent authority on it.
Oh, I didn't mean it in any scientific way.
You know about anything about the hanged man behind the whirling in rags?
Oh, so that's what the RCM in Martinez is about. Great. Great to hear someone's finally taking care of that.
So you do know something about it?
No. Nothing. He was some kind of mercenary. But everyone here knows that. I'm just glad to hear you're looking into it. That's all.
He's not feeling very comfy in his clothes, is he? Strange. He didn't kill him or anything, but there's something going on here.
Is this your mug?
My mug? Why would you think that?
You said yellow man. It's not something many people go around saying.
Really? I hear it all the time. All in jest, of course. No offense meant to anyone.
Still seems suspicious. Did I mention the mug was found at the scene of the lynching?
Okay, I admit it. I threw the mug away in the trash container behind the hostel. I know I shouldn't have, and I am very sorry, officer. You're not going to find me, are you?
Nah, I just want information. I'm going to keep him on our good side.
Whew. Thank you. You won't regret this. I won't use another man's property to dump my garbage ever again. I don't know what got into me, really. Work has been stressful lately. Damn Koiko's price dumping us out of competition.
What did you do, Gary?
Nothing. Just answering some questions.
How did you
Helping
get to the
out the
trash
law.
container?
I know a guy who works with the trash collection services, CS Municipal. He gave me a master key for the trash containers of Martinez,
Why would you need to get to everyone's trash?
so I can use the Whirling's trash compactor to store my own stuff. Garbage disposal is expensive as hell. The damn Hemians run it like a mob. I'm sorry, okay? I thought I could cut costs. I shouldn't have. I shouldn't have disgraced myself.
Disgraced? No need for the histrionic, sir. It was, after all, just a trash container.
He studies his reaction. Gary doesn't answer.
Gary, did you put the clothes of a murder victim, man who was hanged behind the whirling rags, into that trash container?
Officer, please. Let me explain. It's not like that.
Dude.
I was only cleaning up. I live right across the yard from where he was hanged, and I saw him stripped naked. All the clothes lying around in the yard, smelling. People are animals, you know?
Okay, but no. What happened?
Then I came out to clean up the rags because no one else would. I put them into the Whirling's trash, along with a broken mug, admittedly. Okay. I was coming to throw the mug away, and, well, I threw the mug there and the clothes too.
Right. It was just civic duty.
Exactly. That's exactly what it was. Civic duty.
I think so.
As he shifts uncomfortably, a series of clicks, like the clinking of glass beads against one another as they roll across a hardwood floor. You've heard this sound before, but where?
What's that strange sound?
What sound?
Clinking I just heard when you moved.
Really? There's lots of weird stuff out here in the reeds, though. Insects, trash. Could be the wind shifting some garbage nearby.
Every day, the wind shifts the reeds and whatever was left in them. Tambourines and condom wrappers, plastic and glass bottles, the smell of decay. The sound you heard was not the sound of something easily abandoned.
Missing armor of the victim?
Armor? No. I mean, yes. Of course. I know he was wearing armor, but I don't know anything about it.
An infant could see he's not telling the truth, but he's too scared to admit more wrongdoing. There's something going on here. You should observe him more closely after this topic is concluded.
I hope I could help your investigation, in my small way.
No.
Does this mean you were in his apartment, admiring his colonial mug collection? Perhaps it would be interesting to tell him.
Gary, you live nearby in an apartment in Martinez, eh?
Sure do, officer.
His eyes narrow slightly. He's wondering where this is going.
You're a big Man from Heimdall fan.
How?
Mr. Clare thought it necessary to unlock your apartment.
Mr. Clare unlocked my apartment?
Don't worry. Oh, I did, per his request.
So you work for Everard Clare? Officer, please tell him we're good. No, tell him I'll make it up to him. What have I done? He'll send the muscle after me.
Oh.
As he lowers his tone, he hunches his back.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but he doesn't like you.
I was probably talking too loud in the whirling the other night. About some theories. Stupid. Shouldn't have run my mouth loud like that. I won't do it again. If there's anything I can do to assist you, or the Union, just ask, okay? I'll try to help if I can.
This scared him proper. He's positively melting from fear. Has to prop himself up with a lot of anger to keep it together.
The weather vane has turned. He cannot be unturned.
You were surprised to see my colleague, Lieutenant Kitsuragi.
Not many Sealites here, or anywhere, other than Sail. I meant no offense, truly.
Do you remember how, when we met Measurehead and I said the next races will be a really good one?
Yeah.
Well, this is that racist.
Will you grant us 3 wishes, Gary?
Hey, man, all I meant was there are not many Sealites around here. I'm just stating a fact.
You have a problem with sea lights?
No problem at all.
Wumpty Dumpty Dum Center. You're at home, stupid cop. Not with the art crowd. You hate them. Everyone hates them. Even they hate themselves. It's nauseating. An industry built on sprezzatura and sparkling wine. And, let's be honest, tax evasion schemes. The Wumpty Dumpty Dom Center is the heart of this unholy symbiosis of aesthetics and tax optimization. And now that you've internalized it, you can have a piece too.
Okay, so every time we encyclopedia something, we're going to get 10 experience and 2 real, which is pretty good. We lose 2 suggestion though because we're a pretentious wanker. So that's a really good one to take because it's only 100 XP per level, right? That's flat all the way through. So every 10 times your experience, your thing says, you make up, you get another point. But we're now full on our brain cabinet, so we don't get to learn any of those. And I would strongly suggest, even people that want to play blind, because I've played through blind, because you don't know what the results of these are, and they do cost a level point, I think have a look at consider looking at the outcome, what you get, to see if it's worth taking some of them, because some of them probably are, and some of them are interesting as well. But for the most part, I would. That one is okay though. Where's the rest of the hour? I could ask Kuno. So we need to visit the other traps. I won't be keeping these on. No dialogue. Where's that trap? You want the first trap to check?
There's a trap in the reeds at your feet. Looks like the same one you saw Morel set before. Same mesh, same wiring.
Look around.
Behind you, the ruins of a residential building rise over the reeds, shielding them from the wind. The reeds rustle confidently. When this district was booming, the reeds were kept at bay. Nothing obscured the freshly painted facades. Nowhere for drunks and adventurous teenagers to hide. Now only the wind blows.
Reach for the trap.
Locusts are crawling around in the trap, confused but uneaten. You see no carnivorous reed phasmid gorging on them.
No carnivorous reed phasmid. Love it.
Big surprise. Anyway, 1 down, 3 to go.
Damn, I was hoping I would be in the first one.
No, you weren't.
A scattering of bullet holes is spread across the cracked wall, reaching from one corner to the other. A row of ghostly shades stand facing the wall. There are many of them, a dozen at least, their heads lowered and eyes blindfolded. It's quiet. No sound, no movement. 10 meters away, other shades are lined up in an orderly manner, automatic rifles primed. A gust of wind blows by. The coats of the firing squad flap slowly in the breeze. A single person stands on the side. The sun blazes high up in the sky, baking the planks, the sand, your skin. The order was carried out in the afternoon. A long time has passed since the moment of this fusillading. Rain and brine have since washed all the blood away. Not a trace remains.
What is this? Well, it's kind of obvious what it is.
The abundance of bullet holes leads to two options. Either an inordinate amount of executions were performed here, or they did not use a conscience round, where only one soldier has the loaded rifle. Looks like this was a mass execution with everyone fully armed.
Hacky duck, my dude. The 46 months.
Hell you, brother. Get that drunk stat up.
We're doing it, man. I filled up my thought cabinet with useless internalization, so now we can take actual stats.
A host of men, probably in everyday clothes, ragged from the conflict and covered in dust. They were not sitting, a common practice for executions in some nations, as demonstrated by the height level of the bullet holes. They stand, facing the wall. It's impossible to discern any details about their personality or background.
Look at the soldiers.
7 men in combat uniforms and dark coats, holding automatic rifles aimed at the people. Soldiers from some side, but from which one?
What about the person on the side?
The commandant, the one who gives the order. Machine gun fire crackling through the air, the lights of the muzzle flashes dancing on his face.
Let's ask him who it is.
I don't know. I don't know who died here, lined up beside that horrible wall. It could have been any of the parties involved in the revolution.
The game's really good.
Perhaps the ones executed here were the loyalist conservatives, killed by the communists at the start of the Civil War. Or it could have been the communists, put to death during the last stretch of the conflict by the coalition forces.
Remember what Trent Heidelstein said about Veld?
You should reply it now. They have yeah, you should, man. The voice acting's amazing.
Another likely scenario.
Or maybe...
You mentioned coalition forces. Could have been them against their will.
Yeah. It's very unlikely the coalition forces were the ones who died here. They were always the last ones against the wall. To be honest, if a coalition member was anyone in this situation, it was a commandant, the superior giving the orders.
A cold sea wind blows away the figures.
I think the only thing I wish that it was different was that it didn't cost a level up point to forget these. Yeah, because you suffer a penalty to learn them. So I think if you get one and it's bad, just let the player forget them. Then we can learn a different one. And you have to wait the time for the next one. Other than that, all the game stuff's amazing. Ancient painting peeling off the roof. Shaded bench covered in rust. Sign says, Entree Interrogate. Old ticket taker booth, no longer in operation. Oh, money and chair. Be able to go in. With a bad shot, it's inaccessible. +2 logic. -1 perception. Oh, look at us. -9 logic. 6 perception seems good. 9 logic. Like super genius, man. How does Wasteland 1 hold up? Have you played it recently? Because I want to play the series. Section over there that we need to get to. Oh, let's give dude his jacket.
Tequila Sunset.
I found your jacket.
Ah, tequila. I knew you'd come through. That's fucking great, man.
Terrible. That's sad. Give him the jacket.
Let me see. What? This isn't my jacket. My jacket was beautiful. This is fucking filthy. What am I supposed to do with this?
Well, that's what happens when it gets, like, put in the ocean and washed ashore and covered in bird crap, man. It doesn't stay as beautiful as it was when you were wearing it. What do you expect? You left it outside for a week.
I'm not taking a disgusting pile of hobo rags. I may be in an irrecoverably decaying orbit, but I've still got standards. Either bring it back the way it was before, or find a dumpster to burn it in.
You know, despite the guano, it looks like the jacket itself is stain resistant. It may just need a good scrubbing.
I got some more booze. Tell me another story.
Of course. Drink first, story later.
Alright, here's some Pilsner.
Not much, but it will do.
Wasteland 2 is good as well? Okay, good.
The tale I'm about to tell you is an urban legend particular to Martinez. That said, I first heard it from a former bicycle courier in Koran.
Oh man, I started Inquisition yesterday. It's not the same as Origins or 2. I'm still going to enjoy it though. But I was very disappointed with when I opened up combat and I'm like, oh man.
There are many variations on the basic story, and the details often conflict. What everyone agrees on is that nobody knows the exact nature or identity of the phenomenon.
The phenomenon.
Are you telling the story of the headless?
Oh, a spoiler, Rosemary.
Shut the fuck up, Rosemary.
Yeah. I think I'm going to enjoy it, but I just have to get past that initial shock that it's not like they've gone from CRPG to I don't know, something.
Summer of 44. 17-year-old Gertrude Het is walking home from a late shift at the harbor. It's almost midnight. She stops for a cigarette near the canal.
Open world action plus RPG in name, yeah. It'll still be a really good play, but yeah, the change it was very jarring going from one to the next one, especially like finishing 2 on Saturday and then starting Inquisition on Sunday. It was very noticeable.
The streets are warmed by a southerly breeze. The lights of a passing motor carriage bloom and fade in the distance.
Ooh.
In the harbor's dark, her cigarette is a beacon, dancing alone. The image comes to you effortlessly, as though you'd walked the same streets yourself 1,000 times.
Our heroine finds herself enjoying the peace and quiet the canal provides.
He looks up to the skies as if searching for peace himself. Yeah. I figured that's what it was kind of like for most people, Kaki.
What she doesn't
But it's gonna be
know
great.
is that her peace is about to be shattered. From behind her comes the clattering of hooves. Startled, she turns around, and what does she see?
A horse.
Well, yes, but it's the man on the horse that's of interest here. A man...
Without a head.
The pause is long and dramatic.
with no head on his shoulders. Wearing a found tracksuit, searching for the legendary found cap that went missing when he lost his head.
Wait, I thought the headless Fallen Rider rode a bull. Yeah, show him the figurine.
I thought that he rode a headless pig.
Freaking Kim, man.
Well, there are many versions of this story, the most peculiar of which has the headless found rider riding on the back of another headless man.
Yeah, that sounds pretty implausible.
If I hadn't lost my keys that one time, I'd agree with you. But life is a cruel mistress. Gertrude Het may have been the first to witness the headless found rider, but she wasn't the last. Oh no.
Tell him about the two feminists by the locks.
Fuck, Rosemary, they were dating. No one said they were feminists. Everyone always misremembering this stuff.
This wouldn't be the De Ponte Delgado case, would it?
What? You know it.
Man, Kim knows everything, man.
I've read the case file. But please, go on.
Right. Early autumn of 46. Ula de Pont and Eva Delgado are fishing near the waterlock long after the sun has set. The wind picks up. A sky already dark now blackens. Water starts falling from above. The first cold rain of the season.
Yeah, it's because he reads the case files instead of trying to flush them down the toilet.
Two women stand on a small outcropping of rocks. One of them is wearing a purple raincoat. Thin lines reach out from the rods into the sea. Small droplets start appearing on the surface with increasing frequency.
Mass Effect Legendary Edition. Less than 2 weeks.
The women are caught in the downpour. They act quickly. Eva gathers the rods whilst Ula turns around to reach for the tackle box. When she sees something, her
Nice to
shriek
share
is
that.
so violent that the residents of the nearby apartment building believe lightning has struck. But there is no lightning. Only a heavy downpour and the silhouette of the headless found rider looming on the horizon. Ula makes a run for the shore, but Eva slips on a wet rock and disappears into the cold, cold canal with nary a sound. Her body is never recovered.
What did the case file say, Kim?
Naturally, Ula De Ponte became the prime suspect in the disappearance of Eva Delgado. De Ponte maintained that it was the so-called headless found rider and that she ran fearing for her life. During the investigation, it became apparent that there was a love triangle, the third party being some small-time businessman. I don't remember the exact details. The leading theory was that an argument broke out on the jetty and De Ponte pushed Delgado into the canal, then cooked up this stupid cover story.
Was she arrested?
No, she committed suicide before she could be taken into custody. They found her in the bathroom with a rifle, her face slowly peeling off the ceiling.
Oh,
Not a pretty scene.
Man, that's some grisly detail. Oh well, here's to another case closed. Anyway, that's the story of the headless found rider. Pretty crazy, huh?
who was he before he died?
Well, Tequila, that's part of the legend. No one knows for sure. There are a couple of possibilities, though. Some say he was an undercover cop who blew his cover and got beheaded by the vicious gang he had infiltrated. Now he rides, searching for his lost found cap, plotting revenge.
Oh. Do we get an internalized option that wear the headless thing now?
Others claim he was a professional jockey who veered off course during a steeplechase, ended up in somebody's backyard, and got decapitated by an exceptionally taut clothesline.
What a way to go.
Personally, I think he was just some guy who hanged himself from a really tall tree, and the fall was so violent that his head came clean off. Coincidentally, at that exact moment, a horse happened to pass under him, and his beheaded corpse mounted it, where it remains to this day. But then, no one really knows.
For some reason, this does strike you as the most plausible theory of them all.
You know, I gotta agree, your theory sounds the most plausible.
Isn't it? All the pieces fit together perfectly. That's how I know it's right. Anyway, to each his own. You want to hear any other stories?
Nah, whatever became of the headless found rider.
No one knows. Some say he stalks Martinez to this day, and can be seen near the canal when the clock strikes midnight.
He makes a spooky gesture with his free hand.
He won't, though, because it's just a stupid legend.
Oh, Kim.
Aye. I saw him one night when I was right shit-faced.
I bet you did. Have you got any more urban myths?
I actually do have one. The strangest of them all. But I'll need to fortify myself before I can tell that one. Do you have anything to fortify old Doom Spiral? Tell me you got some story juice.
Man, you're really bleeding me dry here. I don't want to give you any more.
It's very hard to tell a story when one's mouth is dry.
Alright. See you later, dude. Hey, Bonfire, how you doing, man? Okay, so we have to clean. Do we have to... Where's the thing? Oh, we analyze Gary's composure later. Oh, that's the roll we're not going to make. Where's the jacket one? Okay, we're inspecting the traps. Wash the dirty jacket. So we're gonna have to, find out a way to wash his jacket. Because he's an idiot. And a drunk.
A drop in temperature, an easy flow there. An empty street. Before you, a thoroughfare unjammed with lorries. No more drivers smoking on hitch steps. Just silence.
What does the smoke smell like?
Chemically sweetened. Across the road, a forgotten bus stop. Corrosion has opened a hole in its roof. An elm tree watches over the building. Its branches are dripping with rain and snow.
Nice.
The road is smooth and motley. The wind moves.
I really don't want the shivers information. We accidentally got shivers through the thought process, and we're gonna ignore them. Well, we can't get up. For some reason, we can't walk over this thing because something's wrong with us. So that'll open up later in the story, I'm guessing. Oh, from Carrie? Yeah, I can see that. I get a little bit of Arashock from Dragon Age 2 vibes.